Oh, hey, didn't...
Oh, hey there.
What's going on here?
How are you guys doing?
What is this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Just
the podcast.
microphones and...
Oh.
I was just sitting down having a beer, and now we apparently have to work or something.
Oh, I guess so.
I don't think I have anything prepared, do you?
I really don't.
I don't either. Should we just go?
Yeah, let's just do this. All right. So I'm Sean.
I'm Eric. I'm Eric. This is Sean.
Yeah, we also got Lane behind the glass there. Even though there's no glass, he's just right there. I can see him. And
This is Sean.
Oh yeah, this is Eric.
This is Sean. I'm Eric.
Eric's the cute one.
We got Lane. He's back there. This is Sean.
Oh yeah, this is Eric. All right, so yeah, we are Fantasy Top 5, and we are Fantasy Top 5 because why? Do you have any reasons for that?
We had a few reasons, if I remember correctly. There's for one, we're the top 5 podcast in the world.
Oh yeah. I hear that.
It was the nation, but I just checked, and I heard that we
You just checked your watch.
I just checked my watch, and I heard that we actually took over the world as the top 5 podcast.
Nice.
It was the fantasy, but now it's just overall just best podcast.
Oh, every podcast.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, which is pretty good. And then also we're gonna do like top 5 stats, top 5.
Oh, what are we covering?
Fantasy football.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I didn't realize until right now.
Football,
okay.
Fantasy football cheerleaders.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna do that.
That explains the 5 best busts of the week. The cheerleaders thing.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
That's how we do.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So yeah, that's for anybody who's listening. That's what we do, or anybody watching, because we actually also do this live. Which the cool thing about that is, if you want to get on, we're gonna do it every Monday and every Thursday, right before the Monday and Thursday night games. So for anybody who, my idea with everybody wants to talk about their fantasy football team.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because everyone has a complex about wanting to talk about themselves.
Yes.
So they do it via their fantasy team.
And they think that their team is amazing.
And it's not. It never is. Never.
It's just not that. But we're here to listen. That's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to everybody. We're going to take the top 5 tweets of the night. I think this one and the next one, which are the preseason, I think we're going to go ahead and just stick to our own content. But after that, once the games start, we'll take top 5 tweets of the night, top 5 comments of the night. We'll do top 5 questions throughout the week, and then I think top 5 for the game.
Yeah, we'll probably do
about to happen.
Yeah, we'll probably do like top 5 plays of the week, top 5. We'll have basically top 5 anything you can think of. Yes. Top 5 injuries, top 5 sleepers, busts, anything you can think of. Top 5 waiver wire pickups. We're gonna hit it all.
Which is good. It's quick. It's informational. Sometimes you can kind of get lost in a lot of fantasy football content.
Yeah, because if you've played fantasy football, yeah, you know that there's injuries constantly. There's people who let you down, Chris Johnson, constantly. Like, there's all that stuff. So we're going to hit all of it.
So I feel like it's good to be able to just get on and, we'll have everything pretty laid out and planned for the most part, hopefully. And, yeah, so that is our podcast.
All right, awesome.
For everyone who's listening right now
or watching, anyone who was on Justin TV before, watching a different podcast, accidentally went to this one, hears weird noise in the background. Hey, at least it looks like we have viewers. So, awesome. Thank you for being there.
So, what were we going to start with?
Let's go ahead and start with a little news, I would say.
News. That is always a hot topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always new.
World.
It's always fresh.
It's new.
News. So, yeah, what should we start with?
There's a lot of things. I feel like, so Vic just got injured.
Oh, yeah, Vic. Yeah, well, I think he got
right
pre-season
before we
injured.
Stepped in here, we were actually looking up stuff.
Yeah.
He seems to be fine.
Yeah,
so
like I was saying, like pre-season injured. Like, he's like, oh my God, I didn't expect to get hit by that second string guy like that, so I'm going to go out for the rest of the game. That's what I think it is. I don't think he's really hurt. X-rays came back as negative. So I think if you were planning on picking up Vic, you still can plan on picking up Vic about the same place you were going to in the draft anyways. I think he'll be fine. He gets hit a lot, he gets injured a lot, but he gets back a lot. So hopefully this isn't anything. But as far as I can see, there's nothing to go off of to say that'd be long term at all.
Do you got anything?
Yeah. Well, I figured I'd go ahead and hit a guy who I am I really thought, I'm like, he's back. He's going to be good. He's going to really help out a young quarterback in Andrew Luck. And I thought, Austin Collie, he's going to be a big factor this year. And then right off the bat,
he's from our state.
yeah, he's from BYU,
Utah?
not my school, but our state.
Our state.
Yeah,
Not the school, but the state.
and he's incredible. I remember I played fantasy like 3 years ago, and he basically won a league for one of the girls and in there that picked up someone from BYU because they're from Utah, and then he kicked everyone's asses basically.
It's fantasy football for you.
Yeah, but then he gets 3 concussions 2 years ago, comes back, barely did anything last year, but Indianapolis got like, I think, 250 total yards of offense last year.
But the potential of Austin Collie is so high.
Yeah, he goes across the middle and he's not afraid to take hits, and that means concussions.
And I watched it yesterday, and that's the first thing I thought is, oh, that looked really painful.
Yeah.
But then they didn't talk about it for a while, and then about 2 minutes later, they were talking about how he was in the locker room. And it wasn't surprising. It looked like a pain. I don't know why he gets the painful hit. Every time that he gets injured, those hits just look awful.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Austin Collie. The pluses you can take away from it is he got up right away. He didn't act like he would. I've seen him with the last concussion he got a couple years ago. He lingered, like he laid on the ground. Like I literally thought, I'm like, this dude is dead. And this time he got up, he walked back to the locker room. So it's probably a lot less severe of a concussion, but he obviously has concussion problems.
But yeah, he's such a good wide receiver for Luck that that'll be quite brutal if he's out.
Yeah, it sucks because the whole time I'm like, I want to put this guy as like my sleeper. I think he's going to come back, and then he just gets hurt again. Right, what else you got?
It's very true. Another injury, Ryan Matthews, which isn't that surprising.
Yeah, Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, 2 years ago, was supposed to be the it rookie. Ended up not being at all. I picked him up.
Yeah.
So it was an awful decision. And last year, same thing.
And it's injuries.
Then this year, they decided to go all in on him.
Yeah, everyone had him ranked like 5 or 6, like really high up there. And here's the thing: is I get it. I watched him play. He gets 200 yards every time he plays a whole game. Like he's amazing, an amazing talent.
He's attractive.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. I'll give him that. But he can find any way to get himself hurt. First play of the preseason. First play, he gets the ball, breaks his collarbone. Like, I don't know what he did in a prior life, but he is getting punished. He has the worst luck of any athlete I've ever seen.
Well, and they're giving him so many chances. It's like they want him to be it, but I just don't know if... I don't know. Maybe, I mean, because the few weeks that he was healthy last year was... He did produce. Yeah,
that's the thing is I want to pick him up all the time, and I just never can because the injury problem. And that's the thing is they think he'll be back within the first couple weeks, and if he is back in the first couple weeks, he could still be a top 20 guy. But I think it's a very big stretch to see him making any higher than just like maybe 15, because he's gonna get hurt again. Like that's what he does, and he'll have a couple weeks where he'll win the week, but not consistently.
I agree.
Yeah, but speaking of bad luck, we also have in the news, and it's a little bit older news. You've probably all heard of it, but Ocho Cinco. A month ago, you hear about him getting married. He's picked up by the Dolphins. Things are looking up because he didn't catch any passes in New England last year. But the Dolphins, who else do they have? They have Devon Best, which is a fast guy, but he's not a possession receiver. So it's
got rid of Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, got rid of Brandon Marshall.
He's going to be the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody watched T.O.J.O., but that
funny stuff.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, really good stuff.
I loved it. My wife loved it.
Everyone I showed it to loved it. But that's the thing is, and that's the crazy thing about it. Ocho Cinco, funny guy, never gets in trouble.
Yeah, he does.
Gets married a month later, headbutts his wife, ends up in jail, ends up cut, ends up divorced.
You missed condom receipt.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm not a professional athlete, but if I was, my wife wouldn't find the condom receipts, especially when we don't use protection. I mean, that's kind of, come on, Ocho, get on it, come on, run those routes right. But yeah, that's Ocho.
He's sad.
And that's the thing is
I
now
root for
he's
the guy. I do.
yeah.
He's hilarious. You
And
gotta
now-
root for anyone funny.
Yeah, now he's labeled a troublemaker, which anyone who knows is like, yeah, he has a big mouth, but he's never been in trouble with the law like a lot of receivers. And then this is going to make it so he got dropped from the Dolphins. There's no one else out there that needs receivers as much as the Dolphins do. And so if they're
Rams.
no, the Rams, I think the
No.
Rams are better off than the Dolphins. I know you're a Rams guy, and you
I
don't think
know.
anyone can catch Bradford's passes, but come on. Look at the Rams receiving core, and then look at Miami doesn't have a receiving core. Reggie Bush is their third best receiver.
And the last of the top 5 news, Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, with Dallas, we're looking at Des Bryant's hurt, which is a surprise to me. I mean, he's never hurt in the first half of every game he's ever played in as a professional athlete. And then we got Miles Austin hurt. And
All of their receivers constantly.
And then, well, then you sit back and you're like, all right, that's how it usually is. Miles Austin can't stay in, and Des Bryant always does good in the first half and he's out. But then you're like, well, at least they can go to Laurent Robertson they traded to the Jaguars.
Why?
So now they don't have a good third receiver, but at least they have Dallas. Oh, never mind there either, because Dallas Clark is out indefinitely with, I think it was what was it? A lacerated spleen, which I've watched a lot of football. I don't remember hearing about a lacerated spleen in the last 20 years. But yeah, that's what he has, and they don't have a definite time when he's going to be back. So what do you think? Does that affect Romo's value at all?
I had Romo last year, and I can tell you I was not happy. So after all of this, I don't see any way you can honestly put him in your top, even 10 or 15, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I like Romo. I want him to do good because I think he gets an unfair shake because he has all these injuries and stuff. And then he throws one interception. It's like, it's your fault. You're throwing to second and third team receivers, but it's your fault. So, yeah.
I like Romo. I do. I think he's a talented quarterback.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. So apparently from the chat, I guess we should tell us their teams. Our teams. Not their teams. We don't really know their teams.
Oh, yeah. Well, their teams are
I already said mine.
the Patriots because everyone's teams is the
Oh, yeah,
Patriots.
that's a
So
good
that's
point.
your guys' teams. But my team is the Oakland Raiders, which, I don't know, means I'm a troublemaker.
That's true. You do get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Just the other day I saw you out there messing up some hooligans. And I thought, it's because he likes the Raiders. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
But when you
And
think...
I like the Rams, which is why I suck so bad at life.
yeah,
But there for a while, I was really good when I had Kurt Warner on my side.
in middle school. You were great in middle school.
In middle school, I was...
You were above average in middle school.
In middle school, I was really good. They called me the greatest person on turf.
The
In
greatest
fact,
person.
they called me that. They did. They called
my
me
gosh.
that, and I impressed the ladies, and I impressed the guys
The middle school.
with my skills and my
ability to pay the bills with those skills.
yeah. That's what I was awful.
Okay, that was some good
Okay.
stuff there.
Let's move on. Sleepers and busts.
All right. Yeah.
So I have my 5. You have your 5.
Yes, I indeed have my
Who
5.
should go first?
You go ahead.
I'll
and go
start out
first.
with mine, which my first one is a 2-part sleeper, which is kind of against the rules because you can't really pick 2 sleepers with 1 pick. But if you could, I would go with Danny Amendola. And I'm going back to the Rams again, but he was so good, and he's gonna be good. He got injured like the first or second play of the initial game against the Eagles, and it was brutal if anybody watched it.
Yeah.
His shoulder was destroyed.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do good, then I'm going to go with their new receiver, Brian Quick, because he's quick. And
He has a common first name.
he has a very nice first name, and he's very quick.
Yeah.
If anyone
Yeah, that's
caught
funny
that.
stuff.
I know, it's funny.
All right.
I know, it's ha-ha.
Yeah, I agree with you on Danny Amendola. He's like,
I would go
he's
down-
a
I
Wes
would go
Welker
him
type.
first. I didn't want to throw all my Rams out there, which if I threw them in separate, they would my whole sleepers would be all Rams.
Yeah. So no, and that's the thing is, I get your love for Danny Amendola because he's a talent.
Like he's better than Wes Welker. He's cuter than what?
This cute thing is
cuter than Wes Welker. I will give it to him.
And I'll agree with you again.
Watch him.
He's a good-looking dude.
Just watch him take his helmet off.
But that's the problem, though, is that he is another guy who, like Wes Welker, who actually doesn't get hurt all that much other than that ACL tear a couple years ago. Goes across the middle, catches the ball. And that's what a quarterback, especially a quarterback like Bradford, who loves his 3-step, 5-step, quick kind of drops, backs, and passes, likes. So I
think it
agree
hurt
with
him
you.
a lot.
I
mean, you get a lot of sacks. You get a lot of sacks if you don't have a quick guy to dump it off to. And Danny, is his name really that hard to say?
That's because of the M and the Amendola.
Danny Amendola he's that guy, and then no one else on the team could catch. So that's also why the Rams were awful last year. But I feel like him alone makes the Rams a better team.
I agree with you.
And Brian Quick, if you're
he's a
late
potential.
round, it's
he's
a late.
Potential. Not a bad pickup for them.
Danny Amendola's 6, 7, maybe 8. You might be able to get him in the 8th round. Quick is more of a second to last.
Dynasty league. You got a dynasty league pickup quick. He's gonna evolve into at least a decent receiver.
I think he's gonna be.
He's a good solid pickup for the Rams. All right, and if you want to jump over to my first sleeper, I have Eddie Royal for the Chargers. And Eddie Royal is a pretty decent guy. He'll return some kicks. And if you know the Chargers, they already have gotten Ryan Matthews hurt. Who else do they have?
The Chargers need
Vincent
someone.
Brown is just barely broke his ankle, so he might not even be back till. When do we have that in the news?
I don't know.
But some more news, some late breaking news. Yeah, but so they need a guy, and I think Eddie Royal can be that guy.
They got rid of Ejac.
Yeah, they got rid of Ejac, and that's the thing is I really think he can step and be that guy. I heard that Phillip Rivers said that he's loving his energy out there and he's running good routes. So, and Phillip Rivers needs a guy like that.
Rivers is awful.
Like, the thing is, think of how good Eddie Royal would be if he wasn't catching passes from Tim Tebow last year. Like, he has an actual quarterback, and I think he has potential to be a really solid wide receiver. And you can get him in the late rounds.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are going to jump up to like the 4th round to pick up Eddie Royal, especially with how deep receivers are this year. So I think he's a solid sleeper.
So I have RG3, although I feel like that's not a sleeper anymore. I feel like at this point people think that Robert Griffin III is going to do really well. So we'll just move on from that. I feel like he's going to do well.
And he should. And he's already made. He
interviews well.
Yeah, he interviews well. He's already.
That's half of playing on the field, I feel.
Yeah,
like.
look at Peyton Manning. Interviews well, throws touchdown passes. Just breaks his neck. Good guy. Good guy. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Robert Griffin III is going to do good. And my second pick is Blaine Gabbert. And I think
you were talking to me earlier about.
Yeah, I think maybe this is just because I watched a little bit of the preseason game the other day. But he's 13 of 16, little over 100 yards and a touchdown. I don't think he's gonna be Aaron Rodgers or Breeze. I don't even think he's gonna be Carson Palmer. But I think that he's definitely gonna move up from where he was at last year. They got Justin Blackmon. He's finally at the end of the season last year. He started to figure things out. So I think he's going to do a lot better this year. And they also got Laurent Robinson. That's where he went, right?
Yeah.
Was it Jacksonville? Yeah.
Yeah, the other day I was saying everyone went to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think it was just
every receiver that you wanted to go to the Rams.
I know.
Yeah.
It's very true. So my third sleeper is back to the Rams again. That's all I'm going to talk about in all the podcasts, just so you know. In fact, probably every podcast. Until they start doing awful, and then I'll actually get mad if anybody mentions them and probably walk out. But my third sleeper is Bradford. I had him last year as a sleeper. You'll be able to get him late, but I honestly feel like it's his year to break out. I feel like the first year was incredible rookie season. He went through the sophomore slump,
He went through an ankle injury is what it was, though. Like
He got sacked.
And he went through this. Oh, Bradford, you got me the... Oh, I don't want to catch that. I might get hit. Everyone's dropping the ball from him. So
It was brutal.
Yeah.
But I feel like pick him up in a late round, not for your first quarterback. Do not pick up a good quarterback, honestly. But if you want to go for a second, you want to go for a bye week, even for a bye week, he did actually pretty decent.
Yeah, you want to take a chance on him and pick him up so when he starts doing good in the beginning of the season and his trade value goes up, you can trade him. Like he's a good guy to pick up if you have the ability to pick him up in the late rounds.
He's talented. I know I'm a little biased, but I still feel like you're pretty safe.
Yeah, I agree with you. And my third sleeper is Packers wide receiver Randall Cobb. I don't know if you remember.
Went way more deeper sleepers than I did. I feel like I went like light sleepers.
Yeah.
Like
you guys were just napping.
Taking a nap.
No one in their REM sleep.
Which my picks are for the noobs apparently.
Yeah.
If you're new, go ahead and listen to me. If you're into fantasy football for a while, listen to Sean. He apparently knows more than I do. Which I would also actually agree with that because he wins every year and I come in second every year. So listen to him.
All right, but Randall Cobb, I don't know if anyone remembers his first game as a rookie when he returned the kick as a touchdown. Like he's a talent and he gets out there and he's quick and he's on a team that passes a lot. So I think he's got so much upside.
The Packers last year had a billion wide receivers that all had fantasy value. I don't know.
Yeah,
if it was
I had
good
4
value,
different receivers from that team.
But they all had
time.
value, and so it was
Yeah.
pretty amazing
It
to
really
have
is.
just 4 or 5 receivers that you could honestly play as a third wide receiver and get something out of them more than. But that's just because Aaron Rodgers was an absolute stud.
Yeah, and I kind of have a theme, as you can see, with the Packers wide receiver Randall Cobb and Eddie. Well, I don't know if they'll have either one of them actually returning kicks again this year, depending on how much they use them in the passing game. But I love a guy who returns kicks because you never know when you're going to get an extra 6 points because he breaks one.
So nice.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's the only reason Hester has any value ever. It's because he will return a punt all day. But, all right, yeah, so Randall Cobb. You should look into him if you can get him.
So my fourth is a guy that, once again, is not really a sleeper. They just paid him a load of money.
Like $52 million, maybe?
Yeah, Antonio Brown. But the guy's the man. And I guess you could probably get him a little bit later. You won't be able to
It depends
get
on
him.
Mike Williams. Because Mike Williams is holding out, and so depending on when he comes back is when you can get Antonio Brown.
But I still feel like I think he'll be top 10, maybe even top 5.
Yeah. Another guy who
And you'll
returns
be able
kicks.
to get him in a good 4th or 5th round. Like he's going to be good. He's going to be an elite wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then my fourth sleeper is Chiefs running back Peyton Hillis.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because Peyton Hillis, last year he got hurt, and then he was trying to get more money, and he got into a bad situation. But I don't know if you guys remember Peyton Hillis from 2 years ago, who would just knock people on their asses and run into the end zone. And I think he's going to be back because I think Jamal Charles and Peyton Hillis is going to be a great duo there. And I can't remember the coach's name off the top of my head, but their coach that they have now, last time they had a running back duo like that before Jamal Charles got hurt 2 years ago, it was Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones, the running back. Thomas Jones, Jets went to the Chiefs.
Yes.
Yes, and Jones had over 1,000 yards, even though Charles had a great year. They're going to run the ball. Their only real receiver that's ready to catch 90-plus passes is Dwayne Bowe. So they're going to try to take a lot of pressure off by running the ball. I think Peyton Hillis, I don't think he's going to get 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, but I think he's going to get 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
I feel like his agent got in his head last year. I have no proof of that. I've never talked to his agent. I've never talked to Peyton Hillis either.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like contract disputes. I feel like Chris Johnson is another good example of a contract dispute that just ended up screwing over your whole season. I feel like you can't play when you have other things on your mind. And it's so frustrating to have that kind of a year as he did 2 years ago and have just the horrible season that he had. Because he was such a fun player. And I was so glad I picked him up 2 years ago. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, you start to get that stuff in your head and it's hard to pay attention to the game.
Yeah.
Start worrying about money, agents, and holding out, and injuries that aren't, I don't know, it's depressing.
Yeah, it really is.
It hurts. Makes me sad inside.
Yeah, really, because he's a great running back.
I cried about it, actually.
I don't know if I'll go that far.
I had him.
Oh, yeah, you did have him.
I was sad for him, but I was more sad for me.
Well, yeah.
But I was also sad for him.
But mainly your fantasy team.
But mainly for my fantasy team, yes.
That makes sense.
The last sleeper I have is Kevin Smith. I don't know if anybody remembers him. He was in Jay and Silent Bob. He was actually Silent Bob. He does a lot. He actually does some podcasts too.
Yeah.
He's on the Lions. He's black, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because in the movies he was not. He was
really white and really fat.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like some plastic surgery, but the few games that he played before he got injured, oh my gosh, I absolutely loved him. I honestly thought I was going to win one, possibly two of my fantasy leagues. The third one, there was no way. Because of him, and then he went out injured. But I honestly think that unless the Lions pick up somebody else, which it doesn't seem like they have yet, have they?
They have a few guys, but no one set in stone. And Javid Best still isn't clear to play, and he got that concussion 10 months ago. So I don't know if he's even going to play. He had a couple of good games, but yeah, I don't even know if he's going to play again. A concussion that lasts. You can't pass a concussion test after 10 months. There's a bigger problem there.
But I feel like Kevin Smith is the guy I've had in my pocket. Now I just announced it to the whole world so everyone knows.
Yeah.
But he's the reason I'm going to win 2 to 3 of my fantasy leagues this year, as long as no one listens to this and nobody gets it. Which is probably not likely.
Yeah, hopefully not anyways. All right, and my last sleeper is Kyle Rudolph, the Vikings tight end, which he did pretty decent last year, especially in their last 4 games. And Visante Shenko has left the Vikings, so I think he's going to have a really solid season this year. I think...
I like Shenko. I never loved him. I see why they got rid of him.
He didn't do anything last year.
Oh, he didn't.
Yeah, he just was naked.
He has a cool name.
In front of the camera a lot. Yeah.
He did. Look up a picture of him online.
Yeah, which he's an impressive gentleman. I'll give him that. He's a big show on and off the field, if you will. But Kyle Rudolph, I think, is gonna fill in for him nicely, and I think you know as well as I do.
In every department.
I'll
just on the field.
Just on the field, I'm thinking he's white. I don't know, but anyways, Kyle Rudolph is gonna fill in for him because I think Christian Ponder, any young quarterback who knows anything, and I actually think Christian Ponder is a pretty decent quarterback, and I don't think he'll be great this year, but I think he'll be pretty good at some point in his career. Is gonna look for a tight end when the line lets people through, and you're getting rushed. You look for a tight end. I think he's gonna get a lot of yards. All right, so let's move on over to our busts now. And
we are going for a long time.
I'll go ahead and start my first bust.
We should speed this up, but we're already like halfway through the hour.
Yeah, well,
still have a lot of stuff to do.
There's a lot of information in the first couple, so we'll see.
Really, we're owning it. I mean, I hate to say that I hate to brag, but I think we're kind of owning the first podcast here.
Maybe, but
I thought we were going to get through and still have a good 53 to 54 minutes left of our hour.
Yeah, we're either owning. You can look at it 2 ways. We're either owning and we're filling up the time, we're doing a good job, or we're dragging and kind of being kind of boring.
And people are leaving.
So who knows? So all right, yeah. So my first bust is Chargers running back Ryan Matthews, and he's my first bust because he manages to bust something in his body every time he goes on the field. So basically,
I like the wordplay there.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And I kind of explained earlier why I don't love Ryan Matthews this year. I still think if he can stay healthy for 12 games, he's a top 20 running back. but I don't know if that's something he can do. I don't even know if he'll be back for the opener, and then he's injury prone. So I think he's a bust, especially for people who have him. People have had him in the top 10 every time, and a lot of people have had him in the top 5. So I think he's a bust for where people are taking him.
I agree. My first bust is kind of a little bold. Phillip Rivers, the guy's awful. That's all I'm gonna say. I got nothing else to say. But every year, people take him 4th, 5th quarterback, and he's awful.
And
I know
he's
you
pouty.
agree with me.
Yeah, he's pouty.
He is. Watch
He
him on the
just
field.
yells at his teammates when he doesn't make a play. That's kind of his MO.
They say it's because he has like 5 or 6 kids, or 7 or 8, or something.
They're
That's a lot of
about this
kids.
big around. You buy them, they're in a little package. You put them on, and you don't have that problem with the kids. So if you're stressed out because of your kids, you have enough money first to buy a nanny, like an adult. Get someone else to watch your kids. Or...
I don't know if that's even true. That's just what people say.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I'm just jumping into what you were saying.
I just think he's not a very good quarterback.
Alright.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. But a lot of people have already gotten injured from the Chargers. But the one plus is Antonio Gates. I think he'll really help him out.
I picked him up so early in every one of my leagues. I had him in all 3 leagues
Gates?
last year. Yes.
I don't know.
But I don't know why. Like, first round out the gate.
Yeah, because
Not really.
Well, if
It
he's
was
healthy,
like
he's
third
worth
round.
it.
And then I'm scared of Gates.
Yeah. That's the thing is, if he's not healthy, it's like anyone. You don't do good. All right, my second bust, which may surprise some people because I'm people that know me anyways, so I'm a huge fan of the guy, but it's Texans wide receiver Andre Johnson. And the reason I say Andre Johnson's going to be a bust is because he has his hamstring problems he's had the last 2 seasons. And don't get me wrong, he's an incredible talent, but I just think he already has had some issues with him flaring up already this offseason. So I just don't know that he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I'll be wrong, but and also, if you look at his numbers, he always gets a lot of yards. He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. So if he doesn't play every game, he's not going to be worth where people pick him up at. 'Cause I think most people still look at Andre Johnson as a top 10 guy, and I still
First
think
round
he's there.
pick,
Yeah.
And
Everyone looks at it like Johnson and Johnson, and I hate to be that guy, but Calvin Johnson is in a completely different league than Andre Johnson.
Which I have to agree. I feel like I'm in the same kind of boat. I feel like I look at both of them like a 1A and 1B, but at the same time, I completely agree with what you're saying. Calvin Johnson is a stud. And Andre Johnson could be.
He should be. He just gets hurt. And last year, you saw that first injury he got. It was no contact hit. No contact hit. No contact play. He caught the ball, went to cut, and just gave out on him. That's worse than a contact hit because he had no reason that it should have gave out. Just injury prone.
I had him as well. That was also brutal. So my second bust is even more bolder than the first. I'm going really bold with my busts. But Drew Brees, and I don't think he's going to be. He'll still be in the top 10. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he's going to be 2 behind Aaron Rodgers. I think he will be 10, possibly 11. I think there's just too much with this. I feel like the same thing with Dallas. Not that Romo's a bad quarterback. It's just I feel like a team doesn't go through that much without people paying the price.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
You could be. I'm not to say that I think you will be, but that's just me. I think Breeze. I think if Breeze was put in the same situation as Tom Brady or even Aaron Rodgers, he would be a 6,000-yard quarterback rather than a 5,000-yard quarterback. Like that's just. He's really good, and he doesn't have the most consistent receivers. He does have a great tight end in Jimmy Graham, but he did lose Meacham in the offseason, and Lance Moore doesn't necessarily stay healthy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I think he'll be like my number 3rd quarterback. I think is where I have him.
He's talented.
Yeah, he's talented, and the
I
fact
went bold with it.
Yeah. And that is a bold jump. And if you're right, then I'll eat my words, I guess.
No, I think I'll be wrong.
Okay, well, that's confidence right there.
But I threw it out there anyway.
You might as well.
Why not?
All right, well, if Eric's was bold, this next one for me is going to be really bold. A quarterback that is going to be a bust, a little quarterback you might know, Kevin Kolb from the Cardinals. And I put
more talented than Breeze last time I checked, right?
No.
He had more fantasy points than Breeze.
Yeah, he really didn't. But here's the reason I put Kevin Kolb up there is because a lot of people are still on the Kevin Kolb bandwagon, and I don't even know if he's going to start. I literally think Skelton might start. And a little quote from a Raiders defensive lineman after playing them in the preseason game last Friday night, I believe. He said he got back there and they got a safety on Kevin Kolb. He said you can see it in his eyes once you get back there and you're rushing him. He doesn't look for the receivers anymore. He just looks for a way to get out of there. Like, he just looks for the refs and tries to go down. Like, he's scared to death out there. And I believe it. I think he's a quarterback maker. I just don't think the quarterback he makes himself. I think he got Michael Vick his career boost that he needed, and I think Skelton is a better quarterback now that he got the competition. Like, you saw Larry Fitzgerald's numbers go up when Skelton played last year. Like,
don't understand Kevin Kolb.
And with nothing, he didn't do anything to earn the praise that
he was never that good.
Yeah, never. And that's the thing is, people still are like, I don't know, I think he's going to turn it around. I just don't believe that. So that's my third sleeper.
Bust.
My third bust.
Unless you really think he's going to do that well.
I'm
I
just
think
flip-flopping. I'm flip-flopping. I think he's coming back. Okay. No, I don't know. He's my third bust. Thank you.
My third is Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez. He's on the Patriots. He had an awesome season last year, but Tom Brady has a lot of people to throw to.
Oh, really? I thought it was just him out there with a bunch of nobodies. That's what I hear every time the announcers come on.
Well, they picked up a whole bunch of nobodies, and they already had a whole bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, like Gronk. He's a nobody.
He's a nobody. They picked up Brandon Lloyd. He is an absolute
nobody.
But when you have that many nobodies out there,
they make 1.5 somebodies. I hear.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they picked up another tight end. I don't know why.
I think it's just because I literally think it's because Belichick is a douche.
Because it's the Giants.
Yeah, it's like the Giants won us in the Super Bowl. So we're gonna pick up their tight end. It's like you have two tight ends that could be the #1 tight end in the league. But yeah, pick up who was it they picked up? They picked up we know our football.
I'm blanking. It's a B with a B.
Yeah.
He's a tight end. What is it, Lane? Look it up.
Why am I looking up?
I don't know.
You don't know what I'm looking up? That's helpful.
Yeah, it really is.
Rob Gronkowski. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What was it? It's
I don't know. Alright, well.
I'm gonna look it up. You guys got
the
right there.
Giants tight end from last season that the Patriots picked up. We'll move on. Lane will find it for us.
Yeah.
No, I won't. What am I looking?
What's yours? Move on to yours.
All right. You're looking for the Patriots new acquired tight end from the Giants. All right. And my Ballard. Yep, Jake Ballard.
I didn't even look it up. It came to me finally.
Yeah, it did. I can see it on
He's
your
not
screen.
that good of a tight end.
Oh, no.
No.
You're right. You just pulled it out.
Okay, it was
All
there.
right.
It was started with a B.
Yeah.
And
that's the
like
thing is Ballard's good, but those two are both Gronk and Hernandez are both young and good. You don't need that guy. I think he just did it to be a douche.
I agree.
All right, but my fourth bust is
big story.
a guy. Yeah, you got the right one. But my fourth one is Michael Turner from the Falcons. First of all, I think he's borderlining washed up, and I think he still gets some yards, he'll get some goal line carries, but I don't think he's gonna do it this year. I think he's gonna go down because I think Julio Jones and I think Roddy White. I think Matt Ryan's finally gonna take the step and be like, I'm gonna bomb it out. If Julio Jones stays healthy, I think that drastically affects it. But I also think I think Mike Turner's just getting old. That's what I think.
I feel like the Falcons are just that team where every guy on that team has incredible potential and looks like that person that you should pick up. Like Matt Ryan, it's like, I should get him. But then you get him and you're like, why in the hell did I get Matt Ryan? I feel like the same thing with Michael Turner. It's like if you pick him up, it's like, oh yeah, I did pretty good. And then 2 weeks into it, you're going to be like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And I feel like Julio Jones is the only guy on that team. Roddy White, I did the same thing last year. Picked him as my number 1 wide receiver, and it hurt. I feel like Julio Jones is the only exception to that. He's the only Falcons that I even trust at all. I don't know why.
Okay.
So for my 4th, I have an awful running back. Sean Green. Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even, that's...
Yeah, he really didn't do great last year. But here's my thing. Here's my debate with you. Have you seen the Jets receiving core?
Yes.
Name 3 Jets receivers.
Santonio Holmes.
1. Who's injured, by the way.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Tebow.
Yeah,
Tebow.
Oh yeah, he's
Tebow.
No, that's a running back.
He's going to throw and catch the ball, I heard. I heard that that's one of the plays that they drew up.
Right.
For him to throw the ball really awful, but really high. And then he's going to run over people and catch it and get touchdowns.
Fair. All right, I
He's their
wrong.
number 2, actually.
Proved wrong again. I heard. All right, but that's my thing is I literally think I think the Jets are gonna end up running it a lot because Dustin Keller and Santonio Holmes can't carry a passing game. And that's the thing is they picked up Chaz Schillings in the offseason, a Raiders guy who did nothing for the Raiders. If you do nothing for the Raiders, you're probably not going to do a whole lot for anyone else because the Raiders have needed a healthy wide receiver the last few years. So, yeah, I think that's the only reason I slightly disagree with you because I remember having him on a league last year, Sean Green, and just watching him drag me down because he doesn't do anything. So I agree with you for the most part, but I think he may be their only option to get yards.
Well, they kept saying ground and pound. And then Sean Green would not ground or pound.
Yeah, and now they're going to ground and pound with a quarterback who takes his shirt off and runs in the rain. So we'll see what happens there.
Which was nice.
Well, yeah. What are you doing? It was nice.
I said I had a wife earlier, so it's okay. I can.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
People know. People know.
All right, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move over to my 5th sleeper.
I don't know why.
Which is Panthers wide receiver Steve Smith. And don't get me wrong, Steve Smith is one of my favorite guys. I was super excited last year to see Steve Smith do as well as he did.
I feel like he's going to have a good year.
I think he's going to have a good year, but I don't think he's going to have the year he had last year. And I think people are picking him high enough because they expect
him
to have the year that he had last year. And I don't think he'll be there. They picked up a couple of people. They picked up Lewis Murphy from the Raiders. I know I'm a Raiders guy, so I'm a little biased. But I think Lewis Murphy, if he can stay healthy, will be a decent receiver for them. They have some other young talent. They have Greg Olsen, who I think will do good. And I think they're going to run a lot more this year than they did last year. And I also think Cam Newton's going to I don't think he's going to drop off the top 10 necessarily, but I think he is going to drop to an extent.
That makes sense. I can see that.
All right, cool.
We're both looking at the chat. We're
both like...
what are people saying?
Yeah.
My 5th, which I don't actually agree with now that I'm reading it. It's mainly if he misses any time for DUIs and running over people. Marshawn Lynch. And if he eats way too many Skittles and gets sick on the field.
Yeah.
Which is possible. You can't eat that many Skittles and play really good football.
Allegedly. I'm going to wait because I feel like I'm just disagreeing with you and I'm not meaning to.
No.
I feel like you disagree with me on Steve Smith a little bit, but I watched a little bit of their preseason game.
No,
and
he's
he is
talented.
still, if he doesn't get hurt, that's the issue because he runs like
Darren
Darren McFadden runs. He runs like Ryan Matthews runs. He runs like a running back who gets injured because he keeps going. Like he will not stop until 5 guys take him down, and that is his upside, his plus. But at the same time, that's also his negative because then you get hurt. But he hasn't so far, so we'll see. And also, there's also the fact that you might be right just based off the fact that he could still get a suspension for what you were saying.
That's mainly what I based it off of, more than anything else. So we're already 45 minutes into this, which is pretty impressive because we still have a lot to go.
All right, well, we'll try to work through this a little bit. All right, Lane, you want to throw up my top 20 in quarterbacks?
Maybe. Oh,
And we'll look at that for a little bit.
maybe. Give me a second.
See if Eric agrees with me on this.
There you go. You're good.
All right. So my top 20 quarterbacks goes as follows. I have Tom Brady as number 1, and I'll go ahead and
I got nothing.
I'll go ahead and explain that as this. I think that literally I could go into New England and throw 50 touchdowns with the amount of talent he has at wide receiver and tight end.
With the amount of nobodies.
Yeah, with the amount of nobodies. I could throw maybe 100. But that's the thing is Tom Brady will be number 1 because of that. And that's the thing is a lot of people can be like, I can't believe you have Tom Brady before Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees. And the simple fact is Aaron.
I agree with those people talking really funny.
Yeah.
I agree with them because I also would have Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
I talk really funny.
Yeah.
And I do that voice a lot. But I feel like I have Aaron Rodgers above Tom Brady.
All right. Well, I would.
They both have a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, I would, but here's the simple fact: Aaron Rodgers will leave a game when they've already won 12, and rather than get hurt. And also, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a coach that tries to run up the score like Belichick does. And also, the Green Bay Packers are wanting to go to their running game. That's why they picked up Cedric Benson. They want to have some balance. So when they get in the playoffs, people don't know, we're just going to run it. I mean, we're just going to pass it.
I still feel like passing teams are what
they are, but at the same
win
time,
games.
Yeah. And maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong with Tom Brady, but I think he'll be number 1.
No,
I think
I had him last year. I quite enjoyed every minute of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Enjoyed every minute of having Tom Brady on my team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why also if you want to take a chance this year, you should maybe pick up a quarterback like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, maybe even Matt Stafford before you pick up those wide receivers, because wide receivers are stacked this year. And wide receivers, I won 2 out of the 3 leagues I was in last year. One of them was off of Laurent Robinson. One of them was off Victor Cruz. Neither guy anyone knew about when the season started.
I feel like that happens every year. I feel like you could
But at
always
wide
find
receiver, wide
you can always
receiver is
find
that spot, right?
running, or even running back. I picked up Hillis, which, not last year, but the year before, which I feel like that's the reason I did so well. But I feel like the quarterback
Are consistent.
they're just not as, you don't get surprised as much by a quarterback.
Yeah.
The list goes pretty
And also
much
Tom Brady
how it ends. I mean, originally how it starts is how it ends with quarterbacks, which is
Yeah.
really weird.
and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers both will go, and Drew Brees and even Matt Stafford will go upwards of past 30 points on a regular basis. They're just that good.
Which is just so nice. When you have someone like last year, when I had a Romo and I had a Sanchez, which I'm embarrassed to say.
Sanchez wasn't that bad. I just don't think you played him enough. Sanchez averaged, I think, 19 points a game.
And a Peyton Manning.
But everyone was down on him the whole time.
Peyton Manning, he had an awful...
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody... but that Peyton Manning, he had an awful year. I don't know what it was. He just... I don't know how many points he got, but I think it was somewhere around 0 or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was awful. Not a very good pickup.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get at least 10 points, and he just didn't.
Get 5 or 6 that would at least add to my
Yeah.
total. But he didn't. But for the most part, I feel like, it lays out how it is. So you want to get one of those top ones because if you get a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, you get those points automatically. Where if you wait and get a Sanchez or a Romo, you kind of start hating life at some point.
All right,
Start thinking about suicide. Start thinking about ending it all. About
like your playing fantasy career, or all right, that's what I thought.
Fantasy.
Kind of giving a bad vibe right now.
I'm sorry.
That
I'm
was
bringing
suicide
everyone
thing.
down.
All right.
Just saying, just get a Tom Brady in your life would be better.
All right, and here we go. We're gonna keep going with my list, and I'm gonna just read down the top 20 quarterbacks. You tell me if you disagree. All right. So then, number 2, I have Aaron
I
Rodgers.
need more drinks.
Number 3, I have Matt Stafford. Number 4, I have Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford, I am so high on. The guy is an absolute beast.
Yeah, he is. And with Calvin Johnson,
yes, Calvin
you can't
Johnson, but
help but be good. And I think this year, I think the coach is going to get him settled down a little bit, and I think Titus Young might come out. I think Brandon Pettigrew will do a little bit better. I even think Nate Burleson will have a decent year.
Matt Stafford, he's definitely.
And their running back situation is
top
looking
5.
awful.
Pick him high.
Yeah, pick him high.
You will not go bad. You'll not go wrong.
All right, and then number 5, I have Eli Manning.
Okay.
All right, number.
Okay.
All right.
Really? 5? Really?
Yeah, I think
I
Knicks last year, and then Victor Cruz, and
has anyone seen Victor Cruz's dance? Sean, will you get up and do it?
he does.
Just really
There's a little
do the.
like this kind of thing. So
That wasn't it. It was.
All right,
like,
you do it then.
He's got it. It's the. For anyone who's not watching, I feel like
They're missing out because you were spot on. I don't know why I made the half-assed effort I did make, but that is good.
But I hope everyone enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it.
I want to watch it right now. Can we get that up on YouTube?
All right. So you don't agree with Eli Manning, or you do?
I love Victor Cruz, and I like Hakeem Nicks. Okay, we'll keep him there.
All right.
I won't make you move him down. I won't make you mess up your list.
All right, awesome. All right, and I have Cam Newton is number 6.
Stud.
Michael Vick is number 7. And here's where you're probably going to disagree with me. I have Phillip Rivers is number 8. And a lot of that is based around the fact, like I said, Ryan Matthews is hurt. And I know you're a big Ronnie Brown guy, but that's their number 2. So I don't think their running game's going too far.
No, it's not.
So
I would move him out of the top 10, but we can keep going.
all right, and then I have Matt Ryan, number 9. Like I said, I think he's going to have an even better passing year than he had last year. And then I have Tony Romo as number 10, which Tony Romo I might have to move down.
Matt Ryan that high?
Yeah, Matt Ryan, I literally think if Julio Jones stays healthy,
Above Flacco?
he could be.
I feel like I put Matt Ryan and Flacco together, and I always put Flacco above Matt Ryan.
All right, I know your wife's a big Ravens fan, but Sean, tell me what number you would put Flacco at. So you mean you have
Number 5.
Number 5.
It's his number on his jersey. He's
All right.
He's top 5. He's top 5 in my book.
All right.
Going along with our name here.
I don't remember that. I'll remember that you said top 5 for Flacco.
Mark my words. Flacco top 5. That's the name of our new podcast.
All right.
Then my new podcast. I'm just
It's
gonna talk
Flacco
about
top 5. You're just talk about why he should
Flacco.
skateboard into the arena into the stadium every game.
What?
And you heard about it before their big playoff game. He was a neighbor called into the coach and like, so you know, Flacco's out here skateboarding.
He was skateboarding.
He's a focused guy. All right, but here's
just because he's a skater does not mean that he's bad. You're putting him down because he's a skater.
Yeah, that's pretty.
He wears skate shoes.
All right,
He probably doesn't.
that's bad on my part. On the field, he wears loose skate shoes.
He's so awesome.
All right.
I would so watch. I already watch football, but I would watch more football.
You'd watch more replays of just Flacco if it was
The skater
if he was
shoes.
skating. All right, awesome. All right, so
Can he skate on the field?
he just
Can they
he
put some
skates around on his
ramps out?
skateboard while he's throwing passes.
Ramps out on the field.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have, like I said, I have Tony Romo 10, but I'll probably, if Dez Bryant stays hurt and Miles Austin doesn't stay healthy, like I may be wrong because
I think I'd put Romo out of the top 50.
Yeah, Romo should probably be down there
Top 60.
with Flacco, but I like the guy, and I think if a couple people get healthy, he'll be good.
Bottom 70?
Bottom 70. I don't know about bottom 70.
I think he might be in the bottom 100. No, he's not that bad.
All right, and then this one might surprise you. I have number 11. I have Jay Cutler, which I put him above a decent amount of people because I think a lot of people undervalue a couple people on their team. Mainly Brandon Marshall.
They're friends.
And and also
They hang out.
last time Brandon Marshall played with Jay Cutler passed to him twice as much as he passed to everyone else on the team. Like Brandon Marshall, in my opinion, is Calvin Johnson-esque. Like he could have the same kind of numbers. And so I think Jay Cutler with him, with the usual Jay Cutler stuff, like dumping it off to Matt Forte, which is also undervalued, I think he has a lot of talent on there that can really help him do well. So I think Jay Cutler will be in the top 20, prior close to the top 10. Like that's why
I
I
like
put him
Cutler. I don't know if I'd pick him as a first quarterback, but if he ended up there, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. All right. I have Peyton Manning as number 12.
Number 12?
And that is purely on watching the fact that if you look at just stats, he looks awful this season. But I watched a little bit of the preseason game, and I hate it because he's a Bronco now, and he's in the Raiders division. But he still runs an offense like no one's business. They're out there, and that's I think he will. I think he'll be back. I don't think in top 12. You got to keep in mind, top 12 it's not like there's not 2 quarterbacks on every team. There's 1. Like running backs, there's always going to be 40 good running backs. With receivers, there's always going to be like 90 decent receivers. With quarterbacks, there's going to be 20, and the bottom 5 of that might not even be that good because there's only 1 quarterback. There should only be 1 quarterback for each team, so it's a little bit different. So I think number 12 isn't that high for him. Ben Roethlisberger, I have number 13. Which Roethlisberger I have number 13 because I think their running game is screwed this year. Like Isaac Redmond's had a little bit of injury problems, and Mendenhall, no one knows for sure when he's going to be back. He's kept on the PUP list, I believe, so he won't be in until after the first 6 weeks. So he better hope Mike Wallace doesn't hold out any longer, because that's what's going to save him is Mike Wallace and Antonio Brown. There's no more Ward going across the middle catching these short passes. He's going to have to go deep.
I'm so sad they got rid of him.
Well, he's old, and it's kind of...
Did you watch his exit interview? I cried.
I actually did.
I'm admitting I cry a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, you're admitting you cry a lot. You're admitting that there's a lot of cute people in
cry.
football. So it's an interesting podcast for you. You might have an exit interview by the end of this, if you know what I mean. Exiting the closet interview.
On the podcast?
Yeah,
Because you're going to do it alone now?
No, I like it. I'm not homophobic. I don't eat at Chick-fil-A unless I'm hungry and it's there. But anyways, I have and then I have Robert Griffin III, 14, referencing your sleeper, which I also agree he will do well. And
Top
then
15, I like it.
yeah, and then number 15 I have Carson Palmer, and that's because not just 'cause I'm a Raiders guy, but I really think Hayward Bay came around last year, and I think Denarius Moore is going to do really well. And they also have got some possession guys that have done really decent in the preseason. And Carson Palmer had great numbers. He did have a ton of interceptions, but he was learning the offense. And for learning the offense, he had really decent numbers at the end of last season. So I think he'll be a lot better. And then Josh Freeman is my number 16 guy, which is basically they got V-Jack. They got Indianapolis's old tight end. I can't think of people's names. Clark. Yeah, they got Dallas Clark. I think that'll help him out. And I also think that will bring back Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams not being the number 1 guy because V-Jack will be the number 1 guy is going to make it so Josh Freeman all of a sudden has 3 different guys he can throw to.
No, Josh Freeman's talented, and
they also picked up another running back, and so now they have. I think they're talented.
I want Tampa Bay to do well.
I really think they will. And I have number 17. I have Andy Dalton, which is strictly AJ Green. He's an animal out there.
He has potential.
And I also
they did really good rookie seasons. I think 2 of the best rookie seasons I've seen in a while.
They did really great. And then I also have 18. I have Ryan Fitzpatrick for obvious reasons. He did decent, and then he got.
I like the beard. The beard is epic. Only he had done better last year.
Yeah, and he got
put him in my top 10.
He got injured in the ninth week. I heard in the offseason that he just kind of hit it, and that's why his numbers went down. So if that's true, hopefully he will do well. And then this is kind of a surprise, maybe. But I have Matt Flynn as number 19. And I know a lot of people are saying there's a quarterback controversy in Seattle, but I think Matt Flynn has the start at the beginning of the season. And I think they've picked up enough. Braylon Edwards, I'm a big Braylon Edwards guy. T.O. I think has a couple good years left in him. Not great, but good. And they already have Sidney Rice. If Sidney Rice can stay healthy, they have Baldwin. If Baldwin can do well, they have
Seahawks will do better than I want them to.
Yeah,
I
they
would
they
agree
have
with that.
Kellen Winslow. They have Miller from they picked up from the Raiders last year. So I think they have a lot of options. And they also have Marshawn Lynch. You have to respect the run. So I think they will do a lot better than people are thinking. And then Matt Schwab, I put number 20, just
Good
because
spot
they
for him.
run so much that when he decides to pass, it's a play action pass, and someone is always open. So he just scores touchdowns.
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks,
Yeah.
but
And he was great. He's a good
Schwabby,
quarterback.
Schwabby.
Yeah, he was great when they didn't have a running game. Like, he was an amazing quarterback a few years ago, and now they just have such a running game, he doesn't have to pass as much. So that is my top 20 quarterbacks.
We've been on for an hour and 1 minute, which is surprising. I
Yeah.
honestly thought we'd be at 15 minutes by now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, right now, I feel like
Maybe we're talking.
our first couple, we can go a little bit longer. There's a lot more information. But usually it's going to be around an hour, so we're going to start about an hour before the game. But right now we're telling people who to pick
Yeah,
up.
the first few we have to.
Yeah.
Once we get actually into the games, we're going to have to cut it. I mean, the game's going to start. So
Yeah.
unless we want to be talking over the game, which would be totally irritating for most everyone, including
yeah,
me.
including us, yeah.
Yeah, including us. We're
Yeah.
trying to pay attention to the game. We don't want to
Drink.
talk to you
We're trying to
guys.
get a little drunk.
Why do we?
But
What am I going to be doing?
but yeah, so in 4
Maybe we
hours
will.
we should be close to done with this one.
Yeah, 4 hours. Everyone bear with us.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into my running back, or not my running back. Sorry, my tight end rankings.
So we're going to do running back, wide receiver next time.
Yeah, we're gonna do running back, wide receiver, and kickers
That'll
next
be a
time.
good one.
Yeah, we're
That's
gonna,
gonna be a
that'll
good
be
one.
interesting.
I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, and we'll do tight
can
end.
see him right now.
Yeah, you gotta wait till next time.
Gotta wait.
And we'll do tight
the
end and
suspense
defense this
killing
time.
Me. I don't know about you guys, but I am just.
All right, you have those up, Lane? All right, so we're going to go ahead, and my first tight
let's get
end,
through this.
and you just let me know if you disagree with me on any of this. My number one tight end is Jimmy Graham.
I have. I'm looking at him right now, which I think most people are. You have Graham Gates and Gronk in the top three. I also have Graham Gates and Gronk in my top three. But I still have Gronk first. Dude's a stud.
All right, here's the thing. Dude is a stud, and Yo Soy Fiesta blew my
Soy
mind.
Fiesta.
But
I'm going
Gronk
to party
is,
every Patriots game
Yeah.
now.
but Gronk is on a team now that has Brandon Lloyd, and really that's the only difference. But they already had an amazing receiving core, and this year teams are going to adjust to try to cover Gronk, which is a task
But
and a
he's
half.
big.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I think
He's a
I
partier.
think Gronk will do well, but I
You
think
don't mess with a partier. You have good times.
yeah, but I think all right. Here's the thing: is they got their offensive coordinator back, the same offensive coordinator that they had when Tom Brady threw 50 touchdowns. And here's my other thing with that: Tom Brady. I don't know if you noticed, he doesn't. He knows what he is. He knows people look at him as this great quarterback, but they do it like this, the same way I do, and there's a reason. It's because he dips and dunks. He does 5-yard passes, and the reason
It's an
they
easy way to win.
yeah, but the reason
That's what
they
I would do.
but the reason they
That's what I
didn't
do
they
in
didn't
life.
win the Super Bowl, and the reason they should have lost to the Ravens is because he tried to air it out. He tried to air it out against the Ravens, and it got intercepted. And the Ravens should have been in the Super Bowl if it wasn't for an easy kick. But then they also, when he was, oh my gosh, and then yeah, he just, you can tell he wants to throw it deep. The reason they didn't win the Super Bowl is because instead of throwing it at Wes Welker's chest on that play that Wes Welker dropped, he tried to lead him because he wanted to score the touchdown and seal the game. He throws that right to his chest. He catches it. It's a first down. They probably win the Super Bowl. But instead, he went for the touchdown because he wants to be known as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, where he throws 50-yard passes all the time. And he does occasionally, but he does half the time that he gets a pass that's over 20 yards, it's because the tight end makes it happen. Or Wes Welker breaks away from a 5-yard touchdown, a 5-yard pass, and makes it into an 80-yard touchdown. It's not him; it's the other guys on the team. I think he wants to be that guy, so I think he's gonna. That's also why I have him number one. Is I think he's gonna air it out. And Brandon Lloyd is the perfect guy to do it, to catch those passes and
He's
to
good.
make something happen.
He was on the Rams.
So yeah, so that's why I have Gronk down at third, and Jimmy Graham is going to be a bigger factor in New Orleans, I think, because they got rid of Meacham, and because Drew Brees loves the dude. And also Antonio Gates is number 2 because if Antonio Gates stays healthy, who the hell else does the Chargers have? Like they just
That guy you talked about earlier.
yeah, but there's a difference between a sleeper and a number 2 tight end. Like
That's true.
so yeah. So then I have Jermichael Finley. This is my number
Has
4.
potential.
He does, and that's the thing.
Good.
With tight ends, there's a lot of really decent tight ends right now. But after those top 3, it's really
Yeah.
it's kind of anyone's game. So then I have
Except for Lance Kendricks down there. He should be probably 4 or 5. He
Yeah.
should be top 5. I have him in my top 5.
all right, and
Along with Bradford and Danny Amendola and Brian Quick.
and all those guys.
That's my top 5 of all time.
All right, and all right. Well, that's all right. Well, then I have Vernon Davis number 5. Have Jermaine Gresham number 6. And I have Fred Davis number 7. Like I said,
Stud.
Fred Davis
Vernon
helping
Davis
out
is a stud.
helping out a rookie quarterback, and I think Brandon
He was good
Pettigrew.
last year.
Yeah, he was good.
With-
Yeah, last year.
Whoever they had last
Yeah, they
year.
played like 4 different quarterbacks. So, yeah, and then I think Brandon Pettigrew will do well. I think Michael Vick is evolving every year as a quarterback. I think he'll learn to use Selleck more this year.
Which he needs to. He needs to use tight ends. He does not.
Well, and Selleck's good. Selleck's a good tight end.
He does. Yeah, Vic does not know how to use a tight end, and I feel like it would help him out a lot.
Yeah.
It makes
It'd help
him
him not
have
get
to
hit
run.
so much too. Yeah. And then I think Tony Gonzalez, number 10, because Tony Gonzalez is always
He is old.
he's old, but he's still consistent. Last year, he was still up there in tight ends.
So old.
And then I have Aaron Hernandez is number 11, which is just another factor of I think they're gonna just pass this year.
Yeah.
They got rid of Green Ellis in the offseason, so I don't think they like. A lot of people like Stephen Ridley and stuff, but I don't think they are gonna have a running
Yeah.
game. So I think Aaron Hernandez will be good. Then there's Jacob Tamme,
Jacob Tamme should be in the top 10.
yeah, you think top 10. And I think if Peyton Manning uses him, but
But he already threw to him.
and he dropped it.
Well, I'm talking about 2 years ago.
Oh, all
I'm talking about
right.
2 years ago.
I meant in the preseason he dropped the touchdown.
That's true, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 2 years ago when I picked him up, and he did really good.
He did.
So
He
that's
did.
what I'm going off of.
He did do well, and I think he'll do well in Denver. They need a solid tight end, and I think he'll be that guy. And that's the thing is Peyton Manning knows how to use a tight end, so I think he'll be great. Like Peyton Manning made Dallas Clark a great tight end, so I think he'll make Jacob Tamme a great tight end.
Jacob Tamme's good.
And then Jared Cook, I think will do really well, especially depending on Brett what he does. And then I think Dustin Keller will do good just off of the fact that the Jets don't have a lot of good wide receivers right now. Like Cromartie came out and said he was their second best wide receiver. He's a cornerback. So that tells you something. And then I think
Good corner.
yeah, he is a good corner, but I don't know. But then Greg Olsen I think will do
Greg
well.
Olsen, yeah. There's so many of these tight ends that I keep wanting them to be so good.
And that's the thing
I
is
feel like all these ones at the end, I feel like they all have this potential, and they're all like Greg Olsen, Selleck.
Yeah. Owen Daniels could be
Daniels.
good. Could be good. Who's my number 16? Rudolph, I said was a sleeper. I think he'll do well. Lance Kendricks, I really think will help Sam Bradford get his confidence back, and that's the biggest thing for the Rams right
They
now.
just need a good tight end, and he has such potential.
Yeah, and then I think Jason Witten I have down as 19 right now because I think he'll come back at some point in the season, and I think he'll be a factor. I just don't know when. But he's a top guy. He'd
Yeah,
be
he
top.
is.
If he was fully healthy right now, he'd probably be top
Soon,
5.
yeah, if he wasn't injured.
And then Kellen Winslow, I think, will do well with the Seahawks. I already told you I think the Seahawks are going to do well this year.
Mhm.
All right, so let's.
Yeah, I don't know why Tapper
alright.
got rid of him.
Well, he has a couple of issues, I guess, but I'm kind of surprised they got rid of him too. All right, let's jump to my kickers really quick, which I'm just going to kind of jump through this if you have any, because it's kickers. If you have any, it's actually defense. Sorry, I am all over the place. Should probably separate my.
Niners.
Yeah, which my defense is still kind of the same. The top
Texans.
top 5 kind of.
I like it. I agree.
Yeah, 49ers, number one, because the 49ers are number one. They literally won. Oh, it should have been in the Super Bowl if that fumble would have been called a fumble that the Giants had. Which I love the Giants, but that's the truth. Like, it was a fumble at the end of the game. And they changed the rule this year where every possible turnover play is reviewed based on that play. So the 49ers do have the best defense in the league. They should have went to the Super Bowl last year, and that was with barely any decent offense.
No, I have them in two of my leagues, and by far the best pickup I had.
Yeah.
By far, they were above everyone else.
And I have Texans number 2 for obvious reasons. Texans defense was superb last year. Ravens and Steelers 3 and 4, which Ravens and Steelers are always good defense. Ravens would probably be number 2, which 3 is not bad, but I don't know when Suggs is coming back. And also they could drop a little bit if Reed gets hurt, which Reed's injury prone, but he's the best defensive back in the game. Like a lot of people do the Revis thing, and Revis is a good corner, but people don't pass to him, and they also let stuff slide. I think with him because he's known as the best now.
I mean, they're my favorite defense, but I don't think they'll. I think 3 is a good spot for them. But as far as just watching, such a fun defense to watch.
Yeah, they're aggressive, they're fast, they hit hard, they intercept, they cause turnovers. Just a good defense. Suggs is an animal. And then number 5 I have the Bears, which the Bears are always a solid defense. Number 6 I have the Packers because they moved Woodson back to safety. I think they're gonna be solid this year.
Last year. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
and
it
then
was.
that's the thing is
Matthews.
I think a lot of it is people double team Clay Matthews, and then also the Packers score so much that other teams tend to score.
Yeah.
When you're up by 14 in the middle of the first quarter, there's going to be yards put up against you. But I still think they've improved. I think they'll be number 6. I think the Eagles will be number 7. Jets, always decent defense, will be number 8. Lions will be number 9. Giants 10. Bills have made a couple additions. I think they'll be number 11. Seahawks had a strong defense last year. I think they'll be good defense this year. The Falcons always had a good defense. They also picked up Samuel as another corner addition in the offseason. They may even be. I maybe should have even moved them up because they already had a really decent defense.
I feel like the Falcons and the Seahawks are both kind of sleepers you can get later.
The other thing is, no one's going to pick up anything past maybe the Packers on defense. You don't really go for defenses till the very end. But then the Saints are 14, and a lot of that is the Saints usually have a good defense, and I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder this year with the fines and the suspensions and everything. I think they're going to be out there to prove a point. So, yeah, that's why I think they'll be 14. Bengals always have a solid defense. Broncos have a really decent defense. Cowboys had a bad defense last year, but I think that's what they focused on in the offseason.
I think the Broncos could be good. They had a good end of the year last year.
Yeah. And next thing is, I think they'll be good. They have some solid players.
Chiefs as well.
Yeah, Chiefs should be decent. Cardinals, I don't think a lot of people realize that they did a lot better in the second half of the season last year. And then the Chargers, they maybe it's coaching, but they always end up being a decent defense. Never great, but decent. So that's where I think they'll be.
I agree.
All right, that's my top 20 for defense. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to Eric's. Are we going to do your hot or not right now? Or are we doing our... Oh, no, we're going to do our top 5 from each team in divisional standings in the AFC.
I feel like because they're going to take a while.
Yeah, but we can we've already talked about some of the good players, so let's kind of go over it and kind of be a little quick. And then, all right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the AFC North. And we have the Ravens. And we're the top 5 people from the Ravens. We're thinking will be Ray Rice, Torrey Smith, Joe Flacco, Anquan Bolden. And Bolden, if Flacco gets him the ball enough, he should be great. He'll be great in a PPR league. And then the defense has to be up there. And then the All right, who do you like from the Bengals, Eric?
I feel like the Bengals, I mean, definitely AJ Green, Dalton, but those are the only two I can really think of.
I think Gresham will have a good year.
I can see that.
And I also think
as
their
tight
defense
ends.
will be decent.
They picked up Green Ellis.
And I think they're going to work Green Ellis. And Green Ellis has a couple of things working for him. He's powerful, and he literally never fumbles. Like, literally never fumbles. Like, so that's great for them. And then here's the hard one, which is the Browns. Because the Browns are the Browns. So I think that Trent Richardson will obviously be their number one guy. He's going to get the ball like crazy until his knee goes out, and then Montario Hardesty is going to come in and they're going to run a lot. But also I've seen decent things from Whedon.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Little he's not as explosive and as much of a playmaker as people thought he was going to be, I don't think, but he is a guy who's going to catch a lot of balls. Point per reception league, he's going to be good. Late round guy, he's going to be good. If you're looking for if you have to wait till if you're in a deep league and maybe a second receiver, but a third receiver or a flex guy, I think Greg Little will be that.
Maybe.
And then also Josh Gordon, the kicker, because I really do.
I don't know who that is. But I'll agree with you.
Yeah, and then
Let's go with it. Josh Gordon, pick him up. First round.
All
First
right.
round. Go out
First
there.
round.
Pick him up.
Get you those points. All right,
Don't
and then,
pick him up. I was just kidding. Anyone who really thinks that was don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
and
do
then
it.
all right, and then the Steelers we have
Antonio
Brown,
Do it.
Mike Wallace.
If he's on the team.
Yeah, and I think he'll be there. Like, I think he's just trying to get money. When he doesn't get it, because the Steelers don't put up with shit like that, he will be back in camp trying to get money the old-fashioned way, which is working. And then Ben Roethlisberger, I think will do well because I think he's gonna have to pass because I think their running game's shot. And then Isaac Redman, I think, if he can stay healthy, will do
I had
decent.
high hopes for Redmond, and then he just didn't quite
He doesn't have
quite do what I wanted him to.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of choices this year. Like he's their guy, I think, until Mendenhall gets back. And then their defense, obviously, they have a good defense. They have a top 5 defense, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now we're gonna
You
go
gotta pick the Steelers defense.
and we're gonna say who we think, the order we think the AFC North's gonna go in. I'll go ahead and let you go first.
I think it'll be exactly the same as last year, in my opinion. I think the Ravens will be first. I think the Steelers will. I really think it'll be the exact same. I think Steelers and Bengals will also be wild cards. And I think the Browns, I think they'll do better than last year, but I still don't think they're going to wow anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think close to the same, but I think, and here's the thing is I think the Ravens are the best team in that division, but I think the Bengals will win the division. And the reason I think the Bengals will win the division is because they just find ways to win. I don't know how they do it. They just find ways to win. So I think it'll be Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and then Browns. And I also kind
I
of
think
think
if the Bengals have a good second year,
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. But it's kind of scary.
It is.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, you never know, but I think AJ Green will help them out.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's go ahead and move on to the AFC South. Who do you like from the Texans, Eric?
There's this. I have this running back that I've heard about. I heard he has potential to be really good and has really cool hair sometimes. He like carves stuff in it.
Ben Tate.
Yep, that's the one. That's the guy. No, actually, yeah, Ben Tate's also amazing. No, the Texans, they're that team I've always wanted to be amazing, and I feel like they've finally done it. I feel like the defense is what they were waiting on. They got it. I could see them. I know this is next episode, but I could see them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they definitely have the potential to, especially if Andre Johnson proves me wrong and stays healthy.
Yes.
All right, so you like Arian Foster. Who else do you like on there?
Schwab.
Yeah, Schwab's definite.
And Andre Johnson.
That's the thing is, even though I'm down on Andre Johnson, yeah, if he's still going to be a good receiver as long as he's healthy.
I think he will be. So.
And then you said you like their defense. And
Yeah, they finally were able to get an actual defense together, which is why I think they have the potential this year to win the Super Bowl.
And then also, I like Owen Daniels,
Yes.
their tight end. All right, and then on the Colts, which is a little bit more tricky, who do you like on the Colts?
I feel like Luck. I feel like. I don't know, they're just such a completely different team than last year. It's almost crazy. They got rid of pretty much everyone. I mean, they have Reggie Wayne. The Austin Collie got injured, so it's kind of depressing. But I think Luck will be good. I think he's going to have a really good rookie season. I think he'll definitely live up to the first pick, unlike some first picks that don't.
Yeah. And then I still like Austin Collie. Like, I think as long as this concussion isn't a big deal, he'll be good.
Yes.
I like Donald Brown. He showed a lot at the end of last season.
I wish they could get a running back.
Yeah. They got rid of a die, so they don't have to worry about a die being competition. So I think that might help Brown a little bit.
So he can be good.
Yeah, and I also like Kobe Flinner, which is the tight end that played in college with Andrew Luck. So he's already kind of familiar with him. But also, I want to hit on what you said with Reggie Wayne. I think Reggie Wayne, I don't know if I'll have him in my top 20. You'll see next week when we do this. But I definitely think he is going to be back to being a great receiver. I think he's. I think he stayed
last year
for a
was
reason.
surprising.
Yeah.
It was surprising to see him do so bad last year.
And I think that was just the lack of knowing what the hell is going on. Truthfully, he said he didn't want the quarterback they started at the beginning of the season to start, and he tried to be there for his quarterback, and it just didn't work out. So I think he's ready to have a good season this year. All right, let's move over to the Jaguars.
MJD.
Yeah, naturally MJD. I still think MJD. People are like, well, the holdout. He's not going to be as good as he's going to be bad. He's going to be like Chris Johnson was. And I think, as much as I think Chris Johnson's a talented running back, they're a different kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like MJD he wants to do great, not just for his legacy, not just for his stats, but also for the simple fact that he also loves fantasy football and he wants to do good for his fantasy owners, and that's awesome. Not very many people will do that. And we got a question saying who is MJD. MJD is
Maurice
Jones-Drew.
He has his own podcast. I've never listened to it. Maybe I should.
Either. Yeah, probably maybe be useful.
I think he's on XM Radio as well.
Yeah. But that's the thing is he talks about fantasy on it. He loves fantasy, so I think he's gonna come back strong for the guys that pick him up.
Laurent Robinson.
Yeah, Laurent Robinson. Yeah, and he did great.
Gabbert.
Gabbert.
Blackmon.
I think Blackman has potential to let everyone down, but I also think he has potential to do good.
And Mercedes Lewis.
And Mercedes Lewis should do better than he did last year. I think Blaine Gabbert being there for a couple of years will help a lot. So yeah, that's the Jaguars. That's the people you should maybe think about picking up from there. And then we have last of the AFC South is the Titans.
Just that kind of I don't know. That's a team that could do really good, could do really bad. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Either way, Chris Johnson. Such a hard decision. Is he going to do good or is he going to do bad?
Yeah, and he had a couple of good games at the end of last season. He's looked solid in the preseason so far. The preseason is the preseason.
I think he'll bounce back. I don't think he'll bounce back to what he was, number one running back, but I think
he's definitely. I think he's definitely going to be back in a big way, especially from all the criticism he got last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kenny Britt, he stays healthy. He's a solid running back.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver. I also really like Jared Cook. I think Jared Cook's gonna sneak up on some people this year. Nate Washington, I think, could be good. He had glimpses last year, but you never know with
he's
him.
a number 2.
Maybe number
Always.
3, yeah.
Always. I don't think he'll ever.
And then Jake Locker got the starting nod, I think, maybe even today. Fairly recently, they said Jake Locker is going to start. And that was kind of to be expected. I don't think they're expecting to win the division this year. I don't think they're necessarily even expecting to go to the playoffs. But they want to get their young quarterback going so they can look for the future. So AFC South, what are you thinking? What do you think? How's that going to work itself out?
I think Texans number 1. I think without a doubt. I think it'll be far. I think it'll definitely be the Texans way above everyone else. I don't think it'll be close. I think the Colts will come in second with, I think, Luck. And I think the Jaguars, I think, have good potential. And the Titans, I just don't see it. But I don't know.
And that's the thing, is I'm going to take a bold approach. I'm going to stick with the Texans on you, because I do agree they're twice the team that any of the other 3 are in that. But for a weak division, I think the Jaguars are going to go number 2. I think their passing game is going to be a little bit better this year, and I think MJD is going to be just as good as he's always been.
I can see that.
And I think the Colts, and I think the Titans. All right, and then let's go ahead and move over to the AFC East. Who do you like from the Bills?
Fred Jackson, I think, could be really good.
Which he's kicked butt for your fantasy team last year.
Until he got injured. It was an awesome few weeks. I was quite happy, but then he got injured and he went out. I had almost all the Bills, and ultimately ended the season in a deep, dark depression. All because of the Bills. I did. I had Fitzpatrick. I had Fred Jackson. I think I had Spiller.
I had Stevie Johnson in one league.
That was what I didn't have. But it was good.
Yeah.
Except it was bad. But I think they could all do okay.
I think all the people
Bills, I don't
named.
know. I was really excited for them the first half of the season. The second half, they just fell apart.
Yeah, and I think the main thing to think about right now is they upgraded their defense in the offseason. So I think their defense will be better. And they're obviously changing some things. They let Merriman go today, which is a little crazy. But yeah. I think those people we named should be good. And then what do you think about the Dolphins? What are they gonna do?
I don't know. I think I liked Ocho Cinco on him. I thought that was good until he decided he didn't want to play football for a team. I don't know why he decided that. And they're a team.
They are a team in the NFL.
I heard a lot about that guy on their team.
Okay. Where is this going?
I don't know either. I'm done. That's all I got.
Right.
That's all I got.
Who did you even
Go
say?
for it. I said that guy.
Oh, okay.
Duh.
All right.
You heard it.
All right.
You
So
heard the guy. He
I'll
was there.
take the Dolphins from here, I guess.
They were in
I
the
think.
movie with Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, they were in the movie with Jim Carrey.
And the Dolphin.
All right. So first, naturally, we're gonna pick Dan Marino.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
top
no.
5.
All right. So we have Reggie Bush, who
I like Reggie.
I want Reggie to do good. I think he's
in a
earned
Pizza
it.
Hut commercial last year.
He was in a Pizza Hut commercial.
He won a Heisman and got it taken away.
Yeah, he did win a Heisman and then get taken away.
I like Reggie Bush.
Yeah. But
He
I also,
dated Kim Kardashian.
yeah, he did.
That worked out.
Every famous person ever has dated her.
I just got famous after this podcast, and I haven't dated her yet, so
Yeah.
that's not true actually.
Oh, all right.
You're
I-
famous,
my
now, but
bad.
you did. You.
Well, yeah, it was a fling. It was a fling. It was a short-lived thing. All right, but I've always liked Devon Best. I like him better with a talented receiver across from him because it helps him get open. But we'll see what happens with him. Daniel Thomas, I think they're going to do a lot of running, so I think Daniel Thomas, as long as he can stay healthy, will come in Good for them. And then I originally had Brian Hartline as the next guy, but I actually think I'm going to go ahead and say Tannehill. He got the starting nod.
They talk about his wife a lot, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, that is weird. But that's the thing is, Tannehill, he looks good, and I think they're going with him mainly because they're starting over. They've had some issues. They got rid of Ochocinco. Garrard got hurt. But I think he's going to actually prove to be a usable quarterback if you pick him up. Say you have a late bye week, week 8 and past, maybe he'll be usable. And then their defense. And they're rebuilding. The Dolphins aren't looking to do a lot this season. So that's that. But we're going to go ahead and move to the next team, which this next team is probably the team that has the least talent on it. Like, you can't really do a lot with them. It's the Patriots. Like, I don't even know anyone from the Patriots. Is there a guy you would pick up?
Don't even pick up anyone from the Patriots.
Oh yeah, Lane made a good point back there. He said Woodhead. Woodhead should probably be number one.
That's about it. I can't think of anyone who picks up anyone from the Patriots. They're bound to lose.
Yeah. All right, but seriously, the Patriots are. It's almost pointless to say anything because they're top 20 across the board. If you don't look at running back. They have Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, both top 5 guys in their position. They have Wes Welker and Brandon Lloyd, which the addition of Brandon Lloyd makes it so Wes Welker and Brandon Lloyd are both probably just top 20 guys, but still dang good receivers. And Stephen Ridley, I think, will be a running back who may catch some passes out of the backfield, do something, may get some goal line work, may get some stuff just to throw the defense off, but he might be usable. Other than that, like, they're a passing team. So let's move to the last person in the AFC East, last team, which is always a fun team to talk about, which is the Jets.
Jets. Rex Ryan, number 1.
Rex Ryan is the best pick from that.
Top 5 coaches. That's not really how you play fantasy football, but if you did,
that'd be awesome.
He has the top 5 coolest looking brother. His brother looks just like the dude. So that's good.
So Jets, pretty much just have to say, pick up Rex Ryan, and pick up Tim Tebow.
Yeah, right.
And you're sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the thing is the Jets are the first team that the first thing I'm going to say to pick up is their defense. So that's probably the most usable thing they have going for them right now.
Unless Cromartie moves to wide receiver.
Yeah, unless Cromartie moves to wide receiver, then that's kind of an extension of the defense. I think it should count as the defense as well. I don't know.
Piece of corner.
Yeah, but they have Sean Green, which you don't like Sean Green. I don't love Sean Green, so maybe he'll do something. Probably he won't. Santonio Holmes, which he could have. He could be a great receiver if he wasn't so busy telling everyone he was a great receiver. And then Dustin Keller, I think, will be a solid tight end, but not a great tight end. And then they have Stephen Hill, who's another wide receiver. And a lot of people might be listening to this and thinking, why did they not say a quarterback? And I'll explain to you why. Because they had a perfectly good quarterback in Mark Sanchez. And then Rex Ryan decided, we don't get enough publicity. We should talk and we should find a way to get Tebow. And no, not Tebow the quarterback, Tebow the guy who is really a running back and throws duck passes all day, to run our Wildcat and to make it so no one can pick Mark Sanchez, because if they pick Mark Sanchez, you have to pick him with assuming you're gonna use him and you're like, yes, he's gonna score a touchdown. Oh, Tebow's coming in to run it in from the 2. So just not usable. I would love to say they are. I think Mark Sanchez could be a top 10 quarterback. Like, he's been great with them not having anyone.
He had good weeks. I wouldn't say he was a great quarterback, but he had weeks where he was.
Who's he throwing to though? That's my question. Is who's he throwing to?
Yeah, we already.
We've already kind of went over it, but I'm just like, it annoys me because I like him, and it's like Tebow throws a kink in the whole thing.
That's true.
But all right. So obviously, you think that the Dolphins are going to win the AFC East.
Yes.
So we'll just go ahead and go with that.
Probably Patriots, Jets. I like the Bills and the Dolphins. I feel like that's the same thing that happened last year, but it makes sense.
All right, I'm gonna
I
go.
feel in my heart. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with my heart on this one.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Patriots. And then I'm gonna go Bills. Then I'm gonna go Jets. And I'm gonna go Dolphins.
Nice.
All right, we'll go ahead and move to our last AFC division.
How much did we do?
Which there's 4 in each one. At the 4th one.
It's like the 6th or 7th one, isn't it?
No. All right, well we're
do
gonna
Southeast and Southwest. Did they have new divisions?
Yeah.
I didn't know about?
All right, but I'm gonna go. All right, we're gonna go with the Broncos, which I'm gonna go Peyton Manning. I think he'll be
number 1.
maybe a good
Number 1 quarterback.
in the
For
league.
the
Number
Broncos.
Oh, no.
1 Broncos quarterback.
All right, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
You keep it to the
And then I'm gonna go Willis McGahee.
He's old, but he knows how to run that ball.
Yeah,
That's what
he
I always
does.
said.
That is what I've heard you say that.
I have.
And then we're gonna go with Jacob Tammy.
Owning it. Owning it.
And then a lot of people think Demarius Thomas is gonna be the number 1 there. I think Eric Decker is. And the reason I think Eric Decker is because he can run the route. Demarius Thomas was great for Tebow, and he was great for Tebow because he just is out there running around, and Tebow's like runs back and forth behind the line like 8 times, and he's like, oh, this guy's open. But I watched in the preseason games, I think Peyton Manning likes Eric Decker better. Peyton Manning will throw to the guy who runs a good route because he's basically like a surgeon out there. He needs everything to be the way he needs it to be.
I agree.
So that's my 5 guys from there, or our 5 guys from there.
Yes.
All right, and then who you like from the Chiefs?
Those guys. With the people. Jamal Charles ruined my life last year. There's a lot of people that ruined my life. I was on suicide watch for a good 16 weeks. With
Yeah, it sounds like it.
With the awful players I had on my team. Jamal Charles was one of them. He wasn't on my team for long. But when he was and when he wasn't, I was on suicide watch. Because when he was, I was really happy.
You're so happy you might kill yourself.
When it wasn't, I was so sad I was going to kill myself. Because he got injured. But he's good. He's a good... Dwayne Bowe? No.
You don't like Tony
That's all I'm going to say. Peyton Hillis has potential. And that's all I got.
All right, I think Matt Castle is their only quarterback that's going to play, so I think he'll be top 30.
I can see that.
Yeah, and then I think John Baldwin has potential to be an okay second receiver, maybe, but I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball. I think Jamal
I picked
Charles.
him up
and
because he was
Peyton
one of the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah,
That sounds like
technically he's a Baldwin brother.
He's a Baldwin brother. And so I like 30 Rock. That's a funny show.
Right.
And I thought Alec Baldwin was really funny, so I picked him up, and it just wasn't very good.
No, I picked Dwayne Bowe because his last name was spelled Bowie. That's why I picked him up.
Gosh dang it.
And then you got rid of him, and then he did awesome.
Yeah.
But that was 2 years ago.
All right,
Come on, next topic.
all right, let's go ahead and move over to my team, the Raiders.
The Raiders.
And naturally, I think you talk Raiders, you got to go Darren McFadden, number 1. And Darren McFadden is this. He is
a stud.
He's a guy who, if he stays healthy, I think if Darren McFadden plays 14 games, he's the number 1 back in the league. But that's the problem, is he gets hurt every year. And so Darren McFadden, obviously, number 1. I think Carson Palmer's going to have a solid year. I think Denarius Moore is going to have... I think Denarius Moore and Hayward Bay, more Denarius Moore, have potential to be the number 1, the top 20 receivers. And then potential. I don't think they're necessarily going to get there, but I think they have the potential. And then I think the Raiders have one of the few kickers I will put in their list, which is Sebastian Janikowski.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is. He should be playing linebacker and kicker, but he just plays kicker because he's lazy. But great kicker.
Why is he so lazy? I feel like he should
'Cause he
play both
doesn't-
at the same. I feel like he should block and kick the ball.
He hikes it and kicks it.
I feel like you should. I feel like you should be like, stop it, I'm about to kick it, and he should like block him and then run back and kick it. He's huge.
He should. He really should. All right, and then let's
Last one.
let's move on
Chargers.
to the last one in the West. Who do you like in the Chargers?
It's a good question. I like Ryan Matthews.
You like Ryan Matthews?
No, I don't. Gates, Rivers. That's about all I got.
Yeah, but we're talking about specifically the Chargers, so I think you have to stick with what you were saying, even though you're kind of just joking, which is Matthews is going to be one of their top guys. We're talking about their top guys. So I still think Matthews could be, and like I said, I think he could be a top 20 running back if he gets back before week 5 and if he doesn't get hurt again.
I think he will. He'll be back.
Yeah, and then they have Meacham if he can
First
stay
half of the
healthy.
season.
And then, like I said, I think Eddie Royal has a good year. Vincent Brown could be back second half, but I think if Eddie Royal's proved himself by then, they're going to go with who Philip Rivers feels comfortable passing to.
I agree.
All right, so AFC West, what order do you have them finishing in?
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one because I feel like everyone's going to say Broncos because of Peyton Manning.
I bet I can think of one person who isn't. He might be sitting near
I
you.
can think of 2.
Elaine can think of 2. They might both be in this room.
I feel like if I say Broncos, I'm going to get hit.
I'm not gonna hit you.
Raiders.
Is that really what you think?
No, I'm just terrified. No, I think Raiders and Broncos. I think will be dueling it out towards the end. But I'm gonna say Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers.
That's the thing. Here's my thing with this particular division that everyone talks about. Well, it's a weak division. It's a weak division. I think all 4 of those teams. I think it's about as equal of a division as you could come up with. I think they all have obvious weak spots, and they all have obvious strong suits. And so that's why I literally think it's gonna go Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and the only reason I put Chargers in the bottom is because Philip Rivers is a child. He just gets pissed at his wide receivers and yells at them. Antonio Gates is injury prone the last couple of years. I don't know that he's for sure going to be 100% back. Ryan Matthews obviously injury prone, like we said. Robert Meacham injury prone, which I think they just picked up mainly to make their team more injury prone, so people can't predict what they're going to do. And Eddie Royal, like I said,
strategy.
Eddie Royal is a sleeper, like I said, which makes him someone who people aren't looking at, which means maybe he's not as good as I'm thinking. It's kind of a long shot. Vincent Brown's hurt already, and so who knows with them. You got the Raiders, which Darren McFadden could carry them to the playoffs, but at the same time he could get injured in week 6 and they could be screwed. Denarius Moore is injury prone to an extent. Darius Hayward-Bray is injury prone. Weirdly, Sebastian Janikowski is injury prone. And Carson Palmer is a top 20 guy, but at the same time, if all his guys get hurt, what's he going to do? So the Raiders, this is why I'm kind of explaining to you that they're all super equal. The Chiefs, I literally think, are just going to run the ball and keep games low scoring, and hopefully they'll win that way by just running the ball. And then the Broncos, I think even Peyton Manning is going to have a year to adjust to that team.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not like he has a stacked team, which he didn't really. Well, he kind of did with the Colts, but.
All right, and that's our picks for the West. And then let's go ahead and jump to what do we got, Eric?
So
We
the
got
last thing on our agenda is the hot or not, which we're going to do every week, which is pretty much just the upcoming quarterbacks. Not quarterbacks. We're doing quarterbacks, tight ends, and defenses this time, but it's going to be every week. It's just going to be top 5 people that are hot. I don't mean sexy, but sometimes I might, and not, which I don't mean not sexy either. Which, yeah, it does. I mean, if they're the best quarterback, but they're kind of ugly, I'm probably going to drop them down.
Well, I'm looking at your list here, and it looks like number 3 and number 4 pretty sexy dudes. So you obviously don't mean not sexy on your not list.
That's true. So we'll go through it really quick. I feel like most of them right now are going to be obvious. It's top 5, bottom, and it's not even not top 5. But hot or not, we'll go quarterbacks. We got Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I know you may not
Just
agree
pretty
with the
obvious.
Peyton Manning. But I feel like you pick up any of these quarterbacks, you're going to be good.
But you gotta look at it like this. Peyton Manning last year, he's hot compared to where he's been in almost
That's
2 years.
true.
Yeah, so he's
That's true. And the knots, which I'm pretty much just going with people that if you pick up, not going to be that good. Drew Brees, which I know I've been down on him a lot. Fitzpatrick, I'm down on him too. Romo Sanchez, for obvious reasons. And Alex Smith, which could prove me wrong. My hots for tight end are also quite obvious. Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, Gates, Jacob Tamme, who is going to be the man, and Lance Kendricks, just a little bit more Rams. The knot, I'm kind of up in the air on actually quite a few of them. Even though I said Gates and Graham, I'm still kind of...
wow.
I know.
2 of my top 3.
Tight end is it's a tough one for me.
Yeah, tight end.
It's every year,
I think
but
Gronk has made it so people are gonna keep tight ends going. Like people are gonna focus on tight ends. So you could be right. If Gates gets hurt, or if Jimmy Graham decides not to be the best tight end in the league, they might go down.
I feel like the hot or not feature is going to be a little bit nicer later in the year when you're kind of trying to figure out who to drop and who to pick up.
Yeah, well, preseason's hard. Yeah.
Gonzalez is old. Hernandez is on a team with a lot of tight ends like we talked about. And Jason Witten, who knows? It could be a while. Defense, I feel like is very similar to Sean's. 49ers, Steelers, Ravens. I think the Broncos has a chance to do well. The Texans have a good defense.
You can't disagree with any of that.
And for the knots, I feel like the Patriots is quite obvious. They're not very good. The Cowboys I'm down on as a whole. The Giants, the Eagles, I don't know. They could step it up, but maybe not. And the Packers just kind of disappointed me.
Here's my
last
thing with
year.
the Giants. Because the Giants, if their defense stays healthy, I think they have the best, possibly the best defense in the league, other than like San Francisco and the Steelers and the Ravens and Texans, but which is 4 teams, so it's not like there's no teams. But I think that I think the Giants. It's kind of weird to see you have them on there, but at the same time they are injury prone. The reason they won the Super Bowl, I think, is their defense, but it's because everyone got healthy in the second game of the playoffs, and that's why they did great. So I kind of agree with you, kind of disagree with you, I guess. All right, so that's your hot or not.
Okay, so that should be everything for this week, unless we have anything else.
No, I think that should be it.
We're going to do another one next Monday. It'll be our second preseason, and then we'll actually start the actual games, which will be limited to an hour.
Yeah,
Like
which
we
the
said, game's
first
going to start right before.
Which the first week will be a little different. It's basically going to be an hour before the Wednesday night game, which usually would be a Thursday night game, but it'll be an hour before that.
Yeah, that'll be our Wednesday. That'll be the first one.
Yeah, going into the Giants Cowboys game,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Monday night game of that next week, which will have a Monday episode before the season starts, but it'll probably be a little quicker. It'll probably just go over a few things if there's any news or anything. So we're gonna go over most of the draft stuff, and by Monday, the what is it? First.
Third.
Monday the 3rd. Yeah, by Monday the 3rd, most people will probably already have their drafts done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to do a draft around that time. Maybe we'll go over what happened in our draft.
Yeah.
Maybe give you a little bit of an idea there. And so, yeah, but that one will probably be an hour. The Wednesday one will be an hour, kind of going over the games that are going to happen there, and then going into the weekend. And then our Monday one, the following week, which will be the 10th, will probably be about at 4 p.m. because the first game starts at 5. So other than that, it'll jump down to the next weeks after that, going into the rest of the regular season. Every week there's a Thursday night game. We will do it an hour before the Thursday night game. Every week going into the
So anyone with any
Monday
questions?
night, every week going into the Monday night game, going into that will be an hour before that game. And then we're gonna also, like, basically want to go off what everyone who watches says. If people want us to do more, maybe we'll do one before the Sunday games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it all kind of depends on what people think.
Yeah.
So let us know. Jump on. We'll follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook.
So that's the other thing. Yeah, we're gonna do top 5 tweets. So anyone who tweets in, and then top 5 questions, that kind of stuff. So definitely come listen live, and also download the podcast as well. We'll have that on our website and on everything else, so you'll be able to find the feed. So
yeah, and a quick preview of what we're going to cover next week. Next week we're going to do top 5 most stacked teams in the NFL, and we're also going to hit the top 5 tips for newbies, which will be really good for any of you guys going into the draft, which I highly recommend as a pre to the tips for the newbies. Don't do your draft before next Monday. Like, you want to wait and
there's
get
so many injuries. That
yeah,
happen.
preseason
So
injuries are
many-
the worst. When you draft 2 weeks
the
out,
changes in quarterback too.
Yeah.
I mean, it ruins everything.
so you want to wait for your draft to be about probably the weekend before the season starts. And so just so you know where everyone stands, you know who's going to start, you know who's not going to start. So yeah, we're going to do that. Top 5 tips for newbies. You got one extra right there for sitting through this 2-hour-long podcast, which we didn't mean to be quite as long, but I'm hoping you
we
got
thought
some.
it was going to be really short.
Yeah, we're hoping you got some good information out of it. We're hoping you got a couple of laughs.
And we'll try to be more relaxed, a little bit more funny.
Yeah,
I feel like this was the top 5 funniest podcast.
I don't know if it was the
Top 5
bottom
informational. We gave out a lot of really good information.
Yeah.
Anyone who listened to this, you don't win your league, it's your own fault.
Yeah,
not
it
our
is.
fault.
Yeah, you can't
Give you
blame
some
us.
good-
We've told you who to pick.
Maybe
Those
some-
really good players out there. And then, we're also a couple other things we're going to hit. We're going to hit the top 5 players from each team and the divisional standings, the way we think they're going to work out for the NFC. And then we're also going to give you our Super Bowl picks. We're going to give you the 2 teams we think are going to make it. And then we'll give you who we think is going to win. We'll maybe even give you who we think is going to make the playoffs overall. We'll see what happens. And then, thanks again for...
Next week, we'll also...
No, you go ahead.
We'll also have an intro song
Hopefully.
and an outro song.
We
No
thought-
outro.
we-
No outro today then.
No,
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 pull
she
it
got
up.
it.
Just pull it up on your computer. You have it right
She
here.
got it.
Just pull it up. They'll hear it.
And then,
Get on your phone.
and then, what else do we got? We're gonna have what's our Twitter?
Oh yeah, our Twitters, just Fantasy Top 5. We also
At
have
Fantasy Top 5.
Fantasy
We also
Top
each
5.
have our own.
which
at
is
FTF Sean and at FTF Eric and at FTF Lane.
we also our website, which most of the stuff should be on, will be just www.fantasytop5.com.
Spelled out.
Yeah, just spelled out.
5 FIVE. Lane will post it up in the chat room, fantasytop5.com. That'll have the feed and the chat, so if you don't want to go to Justin TV, you don't have to. You can just go to our website. And hopefully a few of you come back, and hopefully people really like it.
Yeah, and seriously, thanks so much for watching
And downloading and
we'll try to
watching
make
and
the
listening.
next one be an hour and a half, maybe even less. And then, like I said, after that, they're all going to be short and sweet. They're going to be basically exactly an hour, because we're going to start an hour before the games. We're going to end before kickoff. So jump on, chat with us. We're live. That's the idea of it. We want you to ask us questions. We'll answer them to the best of our knowledge, or we'll just kind of throw something out there. And if you believe us and it goes wrong, that's your bad.
Yep. It's
All
not
right.
because of us. It's because you chose to listen.
Yeah, you got anything else?
That's everything. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Next
What
Monday.
time are we gonna do it? This time we kind of threw a time out there. It's our
Yeah.
first one. We
Next Monday
Monday.
we'll probably do it probably 7 or earlier. We'll post some stuff, but probably 7.
and if you download it, it'll be up a few hours after that. So
Yep.
thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah. Peace out. See ya.